Are we ready to start?
I mean, we could be. We're
I think
recording.
the only thing that we're going to do a little bit different is we're going to kind of start with a wider topic or talking point, I think, to start. And my thinking was just kind of overall, where do you rank this among the Star Wars series that have come out so far? I think that's just a good starting point, and then we'll dive into like one-word impressions and then get into the nitty-gritty.
The nutty-gritty.
The nutty buddy.
And don't say we or was it good this time.
And we are was it good?
There you go. Got out of your system, so we don't have to do it. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we are talking Ahsoka Season 1. I'm Ravi, joined by
Arjuna.
Krishna.
And our producer,
Michael.
And we are Was It Good? Wow, Christian left us hanging on that one too.
I got a note. I got a note from one of our producers before the pod not to do it.
You got a note from your supreme leader?
Oh.
From a producer on this pod.
Yeah, you're one of those tryhards that tries to please teacher.
what?
I was accused of being a teacher's pet in school.
And now.
Real quick,
right
tie that into Ahsoka. Is that what Morgan was? Was she Thrawn's student that wanted to
Or the
impress
Night
him?
Sisters.
Or the Night Sisters?
Yeah.
And look what happens to those types of people.
Yeah, you get a cool sword, but, it's just a red herring.
Real quick, as always, spoilers galore.
Oh, yeah, all sorts of spoilers.
Tons of spoilers for a lot of things Star Wars related.
And
Not
Lord
that
of the
it
Rings,
matters.
potentially.
No Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Also, Lord of the Rings has been out for 100 years in book form, so I don't know. Maybe you should know by now.
They also say creativity's dead and everything's just a repeat of itself. So what are we really spoiling?
I know my creativity's dead.
It's a bleak start.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen.
Where, talking top of the funnel here.
Top of the funnel here.
This is a real nighttime energy.
I mean,
Yes,
we
yes,
don't
it
usually
is.
do these pods at night. Usually we do it in the mornings when some of us are tired, hungover.
Or both.
Or both. Where do you guys kind of place this, Ahsoka series with all the live action Star Wars that's come out in the last couple of years?
That's a good question.
Chris, let's hear from you first.
Nice.
Oh boy. Damn. So I want to put it first, but I have a disease called recency bias. It's a problem. I'm trying to work on it. So I'm going to put it second. Andor is still number one. I'm going to put Ahsoka number two. The reason I want to put Ahsoka number one is because Ahsoka feels more Star Wars than Andor did. I think Andor worked because it went in a different direction. We didn't see any Force users. Andor, to me, was the most different from the Star Wars formula from all the Star Wars that we've got so far. Ahsoka felt like Star Wars. It felt and looked like Star Wars, but it felt like more mature. And so I really want to put it first, but I'm going to put it second.
So you put it over
After
Mando,
Andor.
season 1 and 2.
Well, if we're taking I'm taking all the shows and everything we've seen, so combining all the seasons.
Oh, I see.
Mando
Dips
is
'cause
for me
it's
is on a
season 3.
downward trajectory,
Yeah.
and
that's fair.
I don't see it, unless we're in the valley and it's going to start peaking again. I'm putting Mando third. The Ahsoka and Andor have a leg up clearly because it's only one season. It's a lot easier to nail one season than it is three.
Yeah.
Would you put
But-
would you put any of the animated shows above this if you included those? Like Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, and don't ever forget everyone's favorite, Resistance.
Oh, real quick,
I'm not-
before you answer
Or
that,
Tales of the Jedi.
Before
too.
you answer that, though, know that whatever answer you give, people will come for you with pitchforks.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to compare them. They're two. Both of those
Different
Both
mediums,
of the
right?
formats are two different. Yeah, and also they serve different audiences. The two formats clearly serve two different audiences in my view.
What about
so
the
I can't.
What about the
Can't do
fanfics?
The fan.
Going
I
back-
haven't seen fanfics. Haven't seen them.
Going back to the animated shows, though, I think that's interesting that, especially you're asking about animated shows in comparison to this live action. And Krishna, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, they serve two different audiences. But what's interesting with Ahsoka is I feel like for the Star Wars fan base, a lot of fans of Star Wars Rebels, the animated show, came to this show, and myself included, I think, not super thrilled, but I think it's nice to hear what you were saying, where these are different mediums. They are different formats. It is a different way of storytelling. And I think as fans, you have to like always kind of remember that. So you may have actually just switched my mindset. So
You must have some grace, my lord.
What?
I don't know.
Are you going Game of Thrones on us?
I think
what's going on
Arjuna
there?
has got the night energy and is super tired.
Woo!
I think
We got-
is Sahara driving you home? How are you getting home?
Inject some Red Bull into him.
I thought you said I could sleep over.
Yes.
In
We're
this
gonna
chair.
we're gonna do a podcast at 8 p.m. and be done around 9, and you'll have to crash because it's so late for you.
Well, that's well past my bedtime. My bedtime's 6:30.
So where would you rank this Star Wars live action?
I'm gonna go third.
Oh wow.
Unlike Krishna, I am gonna separate the seasons. So I would put, I'd put Mando season 1 number 1 for me. And then I put Andor, and then I would put Ahsoka season 1 or Ahsoka entire season show / Rebel season 5. I guess whatever you want to call it.
Oh, wow. Well, it's called Ahsoka, so
Yeah,
you
that's
just say
true.
Ahsoka.
But yeah, I put it third. You know, there was a lot in this season that I really enjoyed. I know obviously we're going to talk about the finale, but we're also going to talk about the rest of the season a little bit too, as we kind of touched on episodes 1 and 2 a few weeks ago, and we'll kind of hit the rest a little bit here as well. But there's a lot in this show that I really enjoyed. I thought this was a return to form for Star Wars as appointment television. I think as you can go back and see and watch and listen to our Mandalorian season 3 podcasts, go back and listen to our Obi-Wan podcasts, our Book of Boba podcasts, and I think there was a universal disappointment here, and I think this is well above those.
Definitely.
By far. I don't think they're in the same class, frankly. You know, I think Mandalorian season 3 wasn't as bad as some of those other ones and some of the lows, but it was disappointing. And then Mando season 2, as you guys know, I was not personally the biggest fan of for a variety of reasons. I still did enjoy it, but I do think this is better than that. So yeah, I put it third. I enjoyed a lot of it, and I'm excited to see what the future of this is, whether that be a future season, whether that be some of the future Filoni movies, Mandalorian, whatever is kind of in store for this Mandoverse, if you will. But yeah, third.
Nice.
Bronze.
I'm just like the men's
Oh, we didn't
Olympics
ask for your
team today.
rankings.
They got bronze. I don't know why I know that. I do know I know that, but still. Bringing the random, useless knowledge to this thing.
There you go.
And thank you.
The real hero.
Yeah.
It dies
Gymnastics.
down eventually.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go. It feels like it's a tie for me for 1 and 2 between this and Andor, just because, like Andor, this didn't feel like Star Wars, and that
Interesting.
it felt better to me. Like when I think Star Wars TV, yeah, obviously I think Mando season 1. But then I think of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and then I think of the Boba Fett series, and kind of how pointless they are, and just how it's a shoving merch down your throat play. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of merch came out from this Ahsoka series. Like, just look at what I'm wearing.
Love it.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing the new Roosevelts.
Are you wearing
jacket.
Thrawn?
I'm wearing a Thrawn jacket. It's reverse. I don't know why I'm going on with that.
Oh, because you can be blue like
yeah, you
Lars.
can be
wanna
blue
know.
like Lars.
You know,
yeah.
that brings up a good question.
Nope,
I turned to
don't ask this
Ravi.
question.
I turned to Ravi during the episode when Lars was on screen, you know, doing his thing, and I was like, "Do you think he went full blue? You know, like he could have just done the blue on the parts of his skin that is present, but do you think because Lars has been invested in this role for many years, that he went all the way.
Are you asking if he painted his
All of it.
word?
All of it, Michael. Everything.
Are we allowed to say penis on this podcast?
Oh,
Oh my God, he said it.
I mean,
Fuck no.
Yeah, don't fucking say that.
How could you?
Don't get penisy, kid.
Still the greatest Star Wars line ever.
Oh boy.
There's gonna be generations that think that's a line.
It is the line. Peter Griffin. I mean, Han Solo talking to Luke Skywalker and saying, "Don't get penisy,
Well,
kid."
it's true. So
Falcon.
how many millions of people think the line is "Luke, I am your father"?
Well, that's because of that. Was it the Mandela effect and how, as a society, we remember things differently?
It's true.
So there's also that. But yeah, for me, it's tied right now. I think between Andor and Ahsoka is kind of like the two best things.
Okay.
And again, to Christian's point, it's very difficult to compare one season of a show to something that's been going for 3 seasons.
Sure.
And has been kind of, the whole Grogu and Mando thing was like a cultural phenomenon as well, right? Like with its introduction and then going through COVID and having to wait for that like mystery of all of that and everything. So like, it's difficult to kind of compare.
Yeah, for me, I just remember that the closest I got to that first season of Mando was this, even more of an Andor. Really enjoyed Andor, but like Andor, I didn't feel like I had to stay up until midnight to watch, right? In fact, I was like, I want to watch this the next like night so I can kind of enjoy it and everything. But like Mando felt like appointment television. Like, we got to stay up till midnight. Like, I remember sitting in the old apartment and we were like, get the lights ready and do everything. And you'd have the like intro and the do, and like everything just felt like it fit. And that's what I felt with Ahsoka a lot too, for much of the run, in a lot of ways of like, oh, this is the center of my week in a lot of ways.
It's interesting, like you talk about appointment television, because I said this during our Foundation podcast, season 2, where Foundation felt like appointment television, where it felt like I need to watch this on a Friday, and I was excited too. And Ahsoka, after episode 5, the halfway point where
The Anakin episode,
after that episode, unfortunately, it really kind of just fell off. Like episode 6 was like solid and it was good, but it wasn't like that episode 5 and then episode 7 was kind of okay. I get we're just filling time here, and then this last episode was, I think it was tough. It was definitely tough to kind of get through it. I think like Learman, you said it best with like Baylan. Like we want to know what Baylan's doing, and we literally got a shot of Baylan looking out in the distance, doesn't say anything.
I wonder how much of that was digital.
I don't know. I mean, Disney has not been obviously open about, if they had any kind of reshoots around everything that happened with the actor that plays Baylan.
Ray
Stevenson, who unfortunately passed away before the series even aired.
Right, a couple months
just before. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I think to me it's clear that there was obviously a lot more to his story. You know, like, again, spoilers for those who haven't watched the show or even haven't watched Clone Wars and some of the arcs there. But the statues that are by him are the
father and the son
from the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, who kind of represent.
Is that what that was?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, yes. You didn't realize?
Me and
I thought there were. I
did the whole thing.
Yeah. I thought they were the kings of Gondor of old.
I could see that.
I did say there were going to be spoilers for Lord of the Rings today.
Sure.
And Krishna has now spoiled Lord of the Rings.
Boom. No, what were the features that distinguish? Because I really didn't see it.
The beard, the fact that the father was pointing, the son with he's bald. Mm-hmm. He's also got the distinct facial features as well in the son.
There's no daughter.
There is no daughter in this.
And then Ahsoka does see the owl.
Yes.
Which is also representative of the arc.
Because
that's what the owl was from. I was like, what is that owl? We've seen it before. I couldn't.
And because, remember, the daughter gives her life to bring back Ahsoka, which is why you probably did not see a statue of the daughter there, as Ahsoka is the representative of that. That's also why she when she has her arc in episode 5 where she confronts Anakin, she dons the white cloak because she is the representative of
And let me just so you're not like, what the fuck are you all talking about? So in the
I'm already there.
in the
I glazed over a bit ago.
in the Clone Wars series, Anakin, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka are doing some kind of weird scouting mission. Their ship in space is suddenly teleported in front of this large structure. They're not sure where in the galaxy or this universe. They have no idea where they are. The structure opens, they go inside, and this is basically a Force planet / structure. And on this world, it's very, it's Force sensitive. Time works a little weird and wonky. There's what's known as the father, who's the older man, and then he has his son and his daughter. The son represents the dark side. The daughter represents the light side. The father is in between. And the whole reason the father pulls these 3 characters in there is because he wants Anakin to take over for him because he's dying. And he wants Anakin to be the balance to control his children between the light and the dark. The long of it is it's revealed in there that Anakin will become Darth Vader if he doesn't do this whole thing. Ahsoka dies, comes back to life. The brother ends up killing the sister. So darkness killing the light. And they eventually leave because Anakin or Obi-Wan's like, I don't want to do this. And they forget all of this stuff. But
they have no memory of it.
They have no memory of it, but very intense Forcey type arc that has played, that we've seen references to it quite a bit in post whenever we originally saw it years ago. We've seen it, the reference to the Mortis gods or whatever in Rebels. I think there's reference to it in the Star Wars Jedi Survivor series. Obviously now in Ahsoka with Baylan. Because remember, Baylan's whole thing was, I've come to this galaxy because I'm seeking this great power.
Yeah. So he's the father.
Baylan?
Yeah.
He could be seeking
the
to...
time's wonky, so he goes in, kills the father, becomes the father.
He could. I mean, that's the ultimate way to take full control of the Force, so yeah, why not? Could be.
And he's in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think the Mortis arc is the most interesting examination of the Force in all of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That arc, and I think that lore of it's kind of there. So I think it is, for me, to see that, it was really exciting because, Dave Filoni, at least to me, doesn't seem like a guy that shows something and it's like a red herring. It's like I have a big intent in showing this at this point because it will be something that we are going to continue to tell the story of. So I would be shocked if there is no plan or anything of oh yeah, we're just showing this to show this, and we're never going to come back to this.
Yeah, well, that's all Filoni's invention anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So he's paying off stuff that he's already seeded in a lot of ways. So it was disappointing in a vacuum not to get Baylan, and I mean obviously no one could have foreseen that Ray Stevenson was unfortunately going to pass away, so I am curious to see
what happens next.
What are they going to do with that character and that arc? I think it has to continue in some way. Now, whether that means they recast Baylan or they do something to.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense if Ahsoka has the essence of the daughter, and then who's the son? Baylan's the dad.
Or Anakin.
Anakin represented.
And we saw his But I don't
he
think
was supposed to be the father, and he refused it, and he became
the
son.
But that's because the son corrupted him. That's because he was too close to the son. He wasn't balanced. He was the dark side. And I don't think it's a mistake. Well, obviously it's not a mistake. But we saw Anakin, right? We saw a Force Ghost Anakin on this planet with them. So I think we're setting up Mortis arc part 2. Clearly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
They were.
Yeah.
Who knows now, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What is kind of interesting, though, is when you look at the show as a whole, the only character who started at the beginning, it's now no longer at the end, is, Morgan's character. Every other character that we start, and Marek, right? But everybody else is still there. In theory, Baylan is still there. Shin is still there. Ahsoka's still there. Sabine's still there. Yep.
They've completely switched galaxies. That's the difference.
Ahsoka says
everyone who's
everyone's
in Galaxy A is now in Galaxy B, and everyone in Galaxy B is in Galaxy A.
Yeah, Ahsoka says everyone's where they're meant to be, right? So maybe Shin Hati also is going to play a role in that, right?
I would imagine
what is kind of her arc. We see her kind of with the mercs at the end. You know, she kind of raises her lightsaber up and seems to be their new leader. I would surmise based off of that shot, but I guess how does she come into play? I think they played a lot with like there's a conflict within her that, you know, where are her allegiances really? Like she's been trained by Baylan. She doesn't really know. She didn't grow up with the Jedi Order. She is kind of in a lot of ways like Ezra, like Sabine, where that stuff is not part. You know, she's not Ahsoka. She's not Baylan. She's not this child of war. She did not see the fall of the Jedi Council. So how does that affect her? And I guess what comes into play with that character?
She's raised Vader.
Future? Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, Baylan raised her to be something better than a Jedi.
Right.
So I mean,
well, I think it was clear though in episode 7 that she disappointed him.
I don't know,
and that's why
he kind of let her go. Like he was just
right,
like, you do your own thing now.
Right, but that's because I think she was so hell bent on taking down Sabine / Ahsoka.
I don't think
that's disappointment though.
Yeah, I didn't read that as disappointment.
So if he's raising her not to be a Sith or a Jedi, right? That means he sort of trained her to be an independent. When you're independent, you're a free thinker. You got to do what you think is right. So in my estimation, what he did in episode 7 is a continuation of her training. Like, you can't follow me. You can't follow a dogma. You got to do what is inside you and what drives you.
I was going to say, he seems like the equivalent of the parent who's like, here's all the religions. You decide which one you want to follow.
It's
and I'll support you.
Yeah, so a big arc in this final episode, right, was Ahsoka and Sabine's relationship and them not abandoning each other, right? Ahsoka was like, the thing with my master is he never abandoned me, so I'm not going to abandon Sabine. The thing with Sabine is she did, instead of leaving Ahsoka behind like she did earlier in the season, she stayed, right? That was the arc of them. Baylan and Shin are the opposite of that, right? They left each other, right? They abandoned it for different, it's different principles, different ideologies. Where is Baylan being like, for you to grow, we need to let go, we need to separate, right? His whole thing is, I want to break free of what there has been before.
I was literally
while
saying that.
Ahsoka and Sabine are repeating a lot of even what Anakin and Ahsoka did, where it's like there's this connection that we will always kind of believe in each other. Even Thrawn himself keeps referencing this over and over again. Oh, you're just like your master. I've never met you, Ahsoka, but I know Anakin Skywalker.
What does he call her at the end?
So I think most people heard Ronin.
Yeah, Ronin. That's a masterless samurai.
I heard rodent, but
no, it's Ronin.
Okay,
because her master has been killed, and when your master is killed, you become a Ronin.
I like the idea of rodent.
Until you can avenge your master's death, and then you kill yourself.
Dark.
So she's got to kill
the samurai.
Luke.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
So it's all leading to an Ahsoka Luke duel.
I'd be fine with that.
And obviously he wins. Because otherwise there would be no episode 8.
True.
But no, and I think it's interesting because they do mirror Baylan and Shin. But they also say if you love something, let it go. And like being codependent is not necessarily a good thing. So
which I don't know
and
if
you
it's
have to
being
take into account how Baylan was raised. Right. Baylan grew up running from the consequences of the Jedi Order's belief system. So why would he, like, as far he was great. I didn't give a shit about anything that happened in this episode.
No, I'm not critiquing either way. I just think it's interesting the differences.
No, I didn't think
there
you were
either.
critiquing either.
Yeah, and I think the reason Ahsoka and Sabine go back to each other is because they have abandoned each other, right? As Hu Yang says at the beginning of the episode, the big reason why Ahsoka abandoned Sabine was because she was fearful that she was going to turn evil because she wanted revenge. That's what she kind of sensed.
When you think about Sabine's history with her people, it's super fucked up.
Oh, yeah, of course.
She designed a weapon that the Empire used to target specific, like, Mandalorian Beskar armor to essentially melt them from the inside out. Then she, like, had the chance to unite her people and just was like, meh.
She left it to Bo-Katan,
Yeah.
who failed.
And then, like, I don't know the specifics, obviously, about what happened on Mandalore and the glassing of the planet, but, obviously she survived, so she's got guilt. Like, tough life.
Has the glassing of Mandalore been referenced enough now where we're going to get, like, a Rogue One type of movie that's just called, like,
Glassing of
Glass.
Mandalore?
They should keep it. They should keep it like firmly in the imagination. And
they've shown scenes like Mando season 3 showed like
you don't need a whole thing. No.
Yeah,
they're gonna get Roland Emmerich to film it, and it's gonna be a disaster.
Independence Day 3
and a disaster. Period.
Let's get into our one-word impressions, like how you would kind of sum up the season in one word.
The season.
Ooh.
The season. Anyone
Not
want to go
all
first?
I'll go first.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to go with Hill. My one
Hill.
word impression is Hill because
It's been an uphill battle.
no, I think this followed like a very traditional kind of Hill, right? You have your rising action and you have your climax and you have your falling action. I thought the middle part of Ahsoka was the very best of it, right? And
Creamy center.
I thought you rose into that, and I thought you kind of fell off after some of the middle end stuff.
So you look at hills in a really weird way, huh?
They're just like
you,
this.
You just look at a hill and you're like, "Wow, hill! You had a rising action. There's your peak,
There's
and then you
type of
fell."
vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
So the top of the hill is your favorite part of a hill?
Yeah, it's not yours.
I don't know. There's
I
something
like-
about the anticipation of getting to the top.
I like the top of the hill, and then I like running down the hill real fast.
What about rolling
I like pushing
down
my
the hill?
I like pushing my mother down a hill.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fine.
That actually happened.
It did.
These violent
Yeah.
delights.
There was sheep at the bottom.
But yeah,
I was gonna say I would have thought that you were saying hill because like the show did have to a degree a hill in terms of like having fans enjoy the show. Because
A hill
like,
to die on?
not a hill to die on, but like
It had a hill to climb,
It had a
though.
hill to climb for sure because Ahsoka's introduced to all fans, including past fans of Ahsoka, this live action character in Mandalorian that doesn't say a whole lot, and then. Not only that, but then we're going through the writer. We're going through the writer strike. We're going through the Screen Actor Guild strike. Like, there's no marketing or anything really behind it. So, like,
Yeah.
the fact that it is so successful is kind of wild.
Well,
to me.
and the show, right, and like you said, the show did have this big hill also of like, the show leaned into being a continuation of a largely animated universe with Star Wars Rebels and a lot of the Clone Wars show, right? So it was taking a big risk trying to do that, right? This is something that fans have always asked for, like, oh, give me the live action version of my favorite animated thing. But obviously, to do that in principle is like, we could, if we don't do this carefully, we can alienate a lot of people. A lot of people will be like, this is just too complicated, or I don't want to have to feel like I have to do all this homework to understand what's going on. And I think it did lose fans, right? This doesn't have like the necessarily huge mass appeal that there is, right? This was not the highest rated or most watched Star Wars show.
I thought it had something like 15 million
Yeah.
for the first episode.
It did, but it's still not at Mandalorian levels.
Oh,
it's
wow.
still not at
Oh, wow.
Obi-Wan
Did not know
levels or anything, right? It's above Andor. Andor has still the smallest audience for a live action Star Wars show. Now, I think a lot of people would agree it's like one of the best Star Wars things, but just because something might necessarily be good doesn't necessarily mean it has the audience, right? The mass appeal of it all.
See,
So I think that was tough for this show too. Maybe I think it had definitely some appeal, but I think going the route it did, right, going deep into some of the stuff that's already been established, cuts people off because they're just like, I don't really understand what's going on. And
So I was that way in the beginning. It
Yeah.
turned into my favorite Star Wars thing
Yeah.
until this last episode. But
yeah.
I was curious. Do you think it's an admission that animation is not as good as live action? That they
I don't
chose to do this in live action instead of animation?
No, I just think animation is always going to have a barrier because,
It's childish.
and in the West specifically,
yeah.
it is viewed as
Childish.
something for children.
Yeah.
It is not viewed. It does not have the mass appeal for multiple reasons, and will not. It will not make as much money and will not be as successful in the long term as live action stuff.
So not as good as live action.
I mean, I think good is different, right? Good is different from is different from like a business success, which is money and viewership.
Not as well received as live action.
Not as commercially successful.
So
No, not traditionally
as
in
good.
America. No,
Yeah.
no. But I thought what I was going to say, though, was, you say the audience and whatnot, and maybe it's there, maybe it's not there. I usually grade Star Wars shows on our parents. And I will say this. Out of all of the Star Wars live action that's come out, Dad has been the most excited week over week for this show. And not only but not only that, had like genuine questions in terms of like how does it connect with what you hear and whatever, and was able to like pick up on like connect the dots here and there. So I thought,
are we talking about Our Father?
yeah, talking about Our Father.
Our parents really enjoyed the show. Actually, it's hard to capture their attention these days. They're both very easily distracted. When they watch TV, they want stuff that is very easy to understand and formulaic. And I think this show was something that they genuinely looked forward to, liked conversing and talking about. When we see them in person often,
they have questions.
It's questions.
They have questions.
They're excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
There was nothing like this for like Mando season 3 or Andor, or even the last few Star Wars shows. They're just kind of like
Andor. I remember Andor. It was like, well, it's whatever.
They're like, it's kind of whatever.
Taking forever to get anywhere. And
Yeah.
like, I totally understand that.
It's interesting that you said they love things that are easy to follow and simplistic.
No,
and
generally.
then we're like, they love
Generally.
this. So
But
what
this
does that
to
say
me-
about this?
this
Maybe
to
this
me-
is
Here's the
simplistic.
thing. I
Maybe
think-
I'm misreading my parents too.
Here's the thing though with this show is like at its core, it is pretty simple.
Yeah,
There's an evil threat far, far away. We're gonna go try and stop him, and
I think people are always intimidated by, oh my God, it's a Star Wars animated show of its 7 seasons. But when you break down Clone Wars and you break down Rebels, they're not like insane shows to understand. This is not, we're not like foundationing here or siloing here. You know what I mean? Like we're not like really going deep.
Battlestar
in,
Galactica.
But like Silo. Silo's a perfect example where we're theorizing of like the outside world and the projection within the suits, and if it's you know what I mean. Like that is a little bit more
In your face.
even more dense. Even though that's not like the most complicated thing, but it's more complicated than I would say what Star Wars is.
Yeah, it's more straightforward. Like, kind of what you see is what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you can still
Mortis
theorize.
and the son and the daughter and Vader killing one of them and the other one killing.
But if you
them
watch
and,
the
like,
episode,
You
right,
don't.
but
You don't need to. You don't.
the
I mean,
episodes
correct me if I'm
itself,
wrong,
yeah.
Learman. You don't need to know that arc to.
I would have no
to
idea
understand
what Baylan was
the
doing.
season.
That scene with Baylan would have been the most meaningless thing in the world if Ravi hadn't been there to answer my question of what is that.
Wait, no. Let's
Well,
go
he
back.
said-
No,
I
hold on.
mean-
let's go back. Let's go back real quick. Like, forget what I said about either of those things. What does that scene tell you, just from a cinema standpoint? He's gone. He's found some kind of ancient structure.
Right, and
That's fine. That's all you really.
But
need
that's
to
what
know.
he said in the last one.
Sure.
Is that there's a power. So
Power.
I wanted to know what the power was, and they
season
revealed what
2.
the power. They revealed what the power was to people like Ravi.
Well,
Not
I might be-
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
I might be
We're speculating.
No.
Yeah, this is
we
all
know.
speculation.
We know
This is
a
all
general direction of
speculation.
where it's
Yeah, yeah.
going. we
the
have no idea.
I saw the statues too.
Yeah, but
and
we,
you saw that episode
Yeah.
where that had the statues in. Like,
but we don't know.
how could it be anything else?
But we don't know exactly what the Mortis part he's really going for. How much does he know about Mortis? We have no idea.
exactly because they didn't
So-
tell.
It
us.
should be 0. In theory, from what we were given from the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, Rebels. No, yeah, Clone Wars. He should know nothing. It should be impossible for him to know anything. So I don't think, like I didn't know it was Mortis, and clearly that last scene to me showed me that we got 4 characters on this planet, and it's about to be a bloodbath over some crazy fucked up power. Related to the Force, and I think that's all you needed to know.
Don't
I
forget
don't think
about
it'd
it
be
still
a
worked for me.
bloodbath. I think the plan was for Baylan and Ahsoka to eventually work together.
Yeah, I hope it's a bloodbath.
I mean, it's nothing now.
Well,
I mean, what are they going to do? They can't.
Well, I mean,
Are they
they've
gonna just have
already
fake-
used CGI. They've used CGI characters already. That's
What do
why.
you want to bet that when you sign up for one of these shows that you sign up to get your face?
Well, that's what the SAG is fighting against.
I do think they probably end up
But-
recasting Baylan.
You think they recast?
Yeah, I
Or do you think they digital?
I think
Recast.
I think
I think they'd recast the
I
role.
think we won't know anything for at least 2 years.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't even
easily.
think the show comes out for 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
Or maybe what they do is Ahsoka and Sabine stumble upon whatever he was finding in their efforts, and they find his corpse like he was killed off screen.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but
It's the tidiest.
it is the tidiest, unfortunately. Which kind of sucks.
In terms of like not like throwing people off with a CGI Baylan or recast. So
Yeah, I just thought it was insane. Like, as soon as he was like, there's a great power here, I'm drawn to it, and I'm going to, like, it's a circle of time. I was like, instantly, like, this is all that matters. Like, I don't care what Thrawn does. Like, I assumed that they would all be the same, like, it would all come together. So the fact that it's separated and then didn't even talk about theoretically, the most important part, which is the origin of the Force. It seemed, I don't know, that was a weird choice.
was the origin of the Force a plot point?
Yeah, he says that he's going to the beginning of it all to stop it from ever starting.
Well, no. He said he
Yeah.
was going to stop it from repeating itself again.
He said that, well, maybe I'd have to watch the episode again, but what I understood is he said that there was a great power, it was a circular thing, and he was going to the source to stop it.
Right, from continuing the cycle.
He
again.
is Daenerys Targaryen, first of his name,
Right.
and he will break the wheel.
Basically, yes, that's what he's looking to do.
All right, so he's going to jump on a dragon season 2.
I mean, I looked at it as
Murder the
Baylan.
turtle people.
I looked at it as Baylan was going to do the ultimate. Like, I don't think I want to get into a philosophical conversation about destruction and all that fun stuff. But like,
Why?
Baylan's going to do the ultimate thing that's neither good nor evil. And I looked at it as he was just going to wipe everything out, stop all of life, and then
Yeah.
there is no good, there is no bad, there's nothing.
Nihilism. He was a nihilist.
Yes.
And he was, yeah. So whether or not, I took it to mean that maybe his entire mission was, if he succeeded, which hopefully he wouldn't have, that, as you said, nothing would have ever existed.
Right. And then, therefore, no good, no bad. Christian, your one impression for Ahsoka season.
Is it also Hill?
Yes. No. No, it's going to be Underhill. No, I'm kidding. My one word impression is Narnia. I think the easy one is the title of the last episode: the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. I almost said Warlock, but Warlord. And also the fact that I get the feeling, if there is a season 2, or however they depict this situation of Ahsoka, Shin, Sabine, and Baylan, they are in Narnia now. And it's interesting. I was hoping we would get more of the Narnia elements. And I think I would agree with you guys. Like, this last episode was sort of the show's going up here, and then this last episode felt weird. It felt like, there should have been more.
Right.
But if it's setting up a season 2, the season 2 could be very interesting in that we're on this really strange, crazy situation, this weird planet that we don't know much about, with these various factions, about to be let loose on this place. So, yeah, I think, like Learman said, like we've all sort of mentioned, it's going to be a lot exponentially tougher now. But I hope that whatever it is they have set up for this planet in this other galaxy, they can still hit the note that I hope they're going for. So Narnia.
Christian has brought up a question for me. Anybody know what Sabine saw in the sky?
Well, so she saw essentially the presence of Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She said a
that's
shimmer
what
of
I got,
shadow in the light.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but okay. So it was just that she sensed
just that,
Anakin.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Her force powers are developing, right? So the big thing
Her
in
force
this,
powers are doubling.
in this episode, right?
From 0 to
They always play around with like use the force, and she
Yeah.
really can't. And then finally, she does it a couple times. She pulls a lightsaber. She helps force push Ezra. So she's kind of developing. She's a real Padawan now at this point. She
So anyone
has a connection to the force.
anyone can use the force.
As long as you have the midichlorian count, why not? According
no,
to
everybody has midichlorians.
Right, but it depends. I think you have to have a certain number of midichlorians.
Yeah,
Well,
didn't
there's some
Anakin have over 20,000? And that's why he's the one.
So, as I understand it, I think Whitwer or whatever said this, that the midichlorians are drawn to people who are capable of utilizing them. So your midichlorian count isn't necessarily something that you're born with or is steady, but it is a sign of somebody who's capable of wielding the Force and can grow stronger.
It's correlation, not causation.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's Maybelline, but yeah, sure.
I was gonna say it was George Lucas's just like this is episode 1 and this is my new idea. I hope you guys like it.
Get in line with it. I can't wait for the cultist-esque type movie to come out because you have actors like Freddie Prinze Jr. that gets really passionate on podcasts about how George told him the full plan and how we've all known the full plan, but we're like all blinded or something. Like
We're too stupid to see
something really bizarre, and it's really culty-like.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is weird.
They're all weird.
Do you-
Everyone's weird.
Did
I
you
like
guys
the
ever
passion.
hear his plan, like with the wills and all of that stuff?
George?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard some variation of it.
I've heard it from you, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. But yeah, the midichlorians were supposedly some sort of conduit for the wills, and the wills, I don't know, were these greater beings that were the Star Wars stories, the New Hope and all of that are their journals as they are writing out these events, and we're watching their journals.
So my one-word impression is going to be batshit.
Wait, is it really?
No, mine's going to be classic. Classic. Because I think when I look back at Ahsoka as a whole, part of the reason I was so into the show is because it had those weird classical, like sci-fi moments where you had like set design and everything with like the weird ship that jumped galaxies, the music, the
Space whales.
the space whales, like all these like sci-fi type elements that are deep in our science fiction like history and everything. They were all there and present, and they didn't feel super rebels and Empire and Jedi and Sith and this and that. They just felt like these are pieces of a living universe or whatever, and that made, I think, the show way more enjoyable. Granted, the last scene of like everybody gets a new lightsaber and pew, 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 was whatever, but looking at it as a whole.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is always at its best when it's pushing the story and the lore and everything forward, right? And I think Dave Filoni has shown his ability to do that time and time again across multiple shows. Not always consistently, but I think like with some big swings in certain shows, right? The Mortis arc in Clone Wars, a lot of the Lothal and the Wolf stuff, and the Bendu in Rebels. I mean, even with the Bad Batch, our understanding of the clones and Omega, and everything with the Mandalorian, right, and Grogu and all that type of stuff. And I think he's done it again, even with Ahsoka. Like, we think we understand this character of Ahsoka because we've been with this character for so long. We think we understand these characters of the Rebels, and then I think you get a whole bunch of new stuff that you kind of are able to chew on and understand. And so, I think it's cool. I think that's what I like about his types of stories, right? They're not always going to be successful. Everything's not going to always be exactly what you want, but I like when we're pushing stuff forward. We're not just playing with the same toys over and over again and being like, here it is, like, here's the same thing that you've kind of seen. We're pushing it forward a little bit more and changing things up. So,
like Ryan Johnson tried to do.
No comment.
Yep.
No comment. No comment. Move
An
on.
angel.
Let's get into
just staring right into your soul, Rafi.
Let's get into what we had to. So we have a section here called Qualifiers, and this section is basically when we did our Ahsoka episode 1 and 2 podcast, we listed out some crazy things that needed to happen in order for us to say, yes, Ahsoka was good. And as always, we're going to start with Krishna because he had the craziest things to say.
That was you.
I'm going to start with Krishna, though. Krishna said, I need to get connected. Meeting Anakin needs to be top 5 Star Wars moment.
So I think for that first one, that first part, I need to get connected. If I remember rightly, the first 2 episodes I was not super into.
You said they were not good. Yeah.
I said they were not good, and I had a hard time just getting into the show. I will say, episode 3 and onward, I was connected. Meeting Anakin being a top 5 Star Wars moment. It was definitely a top 5 live action Star Wars moment, for sure. And not hard to do when you have shows like Book of Boba and Obi-Wan. Should be pretty easy to crack that top 5 live action.
So you're talking about the
shows,
series,
Star Wars
not the
moment.
movies.
Yes, correct. Movies would be tough, right? Think about it. You've got 9 movies, and a lot of them are pretty good, or at least entertaining. So it might be tough to crack that. That being said, if you just look at this show, though, like Anakin had to be like a really cool moment, and I thought everything they did in that episode, I was like stunned. I like, especially when we're running around during the Clone Wars. He's got like the short hair and he's got the long hair. You've got like Anakin at all different points and different times, sort of leading Ahsoka along. And I thought they did a great job of showing like sort of in that brief moments, like the brutality of that war. And then being, I think, reminded, and it works really well in live action. Perhaps you lose an animated because it's animated, but Ahsoka's essentially a child in this horrible war. And she's not only ending lives, mostly droids, right? But she's responsible for people, and they live or die under her command. And, I thought it did a great job of showing how disturbing that really is, even in that brief moment. So
I mean, I thought that that was some of my favorite stuff of the season, and some of just my favorite Star Wars moments, like having that whole episode of Hayden Christensen. I thought what we got of Hayden Christensen in Ahsoka was with all the press around Obi-Wan, which is what we were going to get in Obi-Wan, right? Yeah. It was made such a big deal that Hayden was returning as Darth Vader and as Anakin. We got the very brief like flashback scene, and we got obviously a little bit of stuff with him behind the helmet, but it just, that stuff was not as successful within that show. But I think obviously what we got in Ahsoka was just like a true delight, and just feels like a true, Hayden obviously got a lot of hate for his performances in the prequel trilogies, which to me doesn't seem to be his fault. I just think the direction in that, like, no actor looked very good in that movie, just because the direction of the movies just seemed really poor. Shame on you, George Lucas. But
yeah, give him shame.
Yeah, but like you could see the performance right in this show, and even his movement with a lightsaber. It sounds so weird, but it's just on a different level compared to everybody else. You're just like, holy shit, he really is the chosen one, right? Like, he really is that much better.
I mean, he put in so much training.
Yeah.
Like him and Ewan McGregor, so much training for those lightsaber duels. So it's fun to think he kept it up.
Yeah. He's or
the muscle memory kicked in.
I am him. I am the guy. But even the performances were really moving, and they felt monumental to me, in a lot of ways.
So then let's hear what your qualifier was, which was, don't put Grogu or Din Djarin in this show. Focus on Ahsoka and the Rebel characters. Don't try and get cute and add substantial characters that will detract from the story you've laid out. I can safely say, you're wrong. The whales were in this.
We expected the whales.
They were cute.
But no, I mean, they did obviously reference a little bit of the Mando events.
Yeah, in episode 7, when they're doing the fake trial, we have one of the Rebel pilots say Gideon on Mandalore. So that helps us know that this series is after the events of Mando season
and
3.
Connects the universe, right?
Yeah.
I think they wanted to add that. That's why also you have the C-3PO cameo in episode 7.
Yeah,
right. You want that. You're adding in these flavors and these characters to remind the audience, like, hey, it's all
what's the
all the
actor's
same
name?
time. Anthony Daniels.
He just wanted to make some money.
Yeah. Well, but I'm glad they didn't throw in a Book of Boba. Like, okay, here's Din and
I'm the
Din and
Daimo.
Grogu just hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're chilling on I want to say Nuevos, but that's not right.
City planet.
Navarro.
I rule
Yeah,
with
they're just
respect.
chilling on Navarro. They're all good. Boba Fett's chilling on Tatooine.
I'll get a plot of land for you and the little fella.
He's all good. Bo-Katan is on Mandalore. She all good. Everything's great.
They're all going to assemble, right? We're gearing up for Star Wars.
Well, I mean,
the Avengers.
The latest thing, right? The latest thing is Mr. Psychopath
Thrawn?
Thrawn. Thank you. What the fuck? Yeah, Psychopath Thrawn is on Dathomir with bodies and caskets.
He's got his zombie army.
Well, like Lehrman had said, oh, is that like Thrawn's men? I don't think it's Thrawn's men. I think it's the dead Night Sisters from that planet.
Oh, it could be. I just assumed because he talked about how light they were on personnel at that one point where she's like, are you sure that's enough? And he's like, well, considering we've lost so many people, I just assumed that was all the dead. So he just, and he also mentioned the TIE fighters, like when they were destroyed. He said,
acceptable losses.
Yeah, but he also said something about, didn't he say something about like, I didn't hear it too clearly. I thought he was saying like, charge them for the cost of the TIE fighters. But
in the
after
car.
I saw the caskets, I was like, oh, did he say go get their bodies so that they, like, was he collecting their bodies?
Could be.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, he's creating his zombie army. Star Wars is meeting The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is announcing its new spin-off, Walking Dead Star Wars, starring Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Walking Dead.
And speaking of dead things, my qualifier was that Marek needs to be related to Anakin some way. Vader's Padawan versus Anakin's Padawan, which was also kind of like slightly a bold prediction too.
Yeah, can we assume then that you're going to be saying that Ahsoka was bad since your qualifier was not?
I mean, we live
happening.
and die by our qualifiers.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's what qualify means.
Yeah, exactly.
Live or die.
So I mean, it's good to bring up, right? Like he dies halfway through the show. He has this weird. He kind of puffs into smoke.
Yeah, what was
He's a
that?
Night Sister.
Well, as clones
dead
of
thing.
Anakin are wont to do.
Right. He still could be.
Yeah, he's just
Right.
a
No,
clone of Anakin.
he's a zombie thing formed by the night by Morgan. Because when he
Oh, yeah,
puffs, it's
probably.
green smoke or this green element.
Oh,
So
is
it's
there?
yeah, it's a Night Sister or it's an Inquisitor brought back to life of some kind. Or
Yeah,
somehow.
by Morgan and
By Morgan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
And
makes a
I
lot of
think like when
sense.
you look again at the whole series as a whole, and we see what the Night Sisters, on the other side of the galaxy or universe did, bringing back, stormtroopers, it plays into the bigger theme of we have zombies now and the Walking Dead now. So I think where I was suggesting put the show more at a focus on Ahsoka as a whole, as opposed to what the show's really trying to do, which is, I think its main focus is not Ahsoka building. I think it is the more world building aspect and elements because, again, you need conflict and everything to make a character interesting. And Star Wars consistently has everything about Star Wars is never focusing on one thing. It's always focusing on 15 characters at any given time.
It's a space opera, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It's
So
not.
it needs to be.
There's
whole
not
cast.
a singular protagonist ever in Star
Right.
Wars.
Not as much singing as you would guess for an opera.
Yeah,
Did you hear the song played?
the song of the Purgles.
I don't know. I thought I heard those space whales give us a pretty good number. What was it like? Oh, that's not a space whale.
Yeah, and then they jumped to light speed. They're like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
With
They're like all these bombs. Fuck.
Sure took a lot of bombs before they're like, hey, we get the F out of
Well, are
here.
they like immortal? Can they not die?
Yeah, they can. They have skeletons. Remember?
Yeah, that was literally their cemetery.
That's why they go to that place. They go there to die.
Right. Well, but like, can they not die from like normal like bombs and stuff?
I
Correct.
think. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
They definitely
No,
cannot.
I'm pretty
because we
sure
didn't
one
see
of
them
them,
die.
several of them were dying in that.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of them like die.
I saw
Yeah,
blood
no.
splatter everywhere.
No, several of them like exploded.
No, that was the bombs.
No, like there definitely were some dead ones. I'll have to rewatch.
I don't. They just seem to be kind of like they were like
This
little
is
like
itchy.
ows, and they were just
They,
like,
they
"All right,
were
let's jump
literally
away."
like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
then they jumped to hyperspace and left. They were like, all right, this is stupid.
They're like, I guess it's
Which I
not
respect,
time
by the
to
way.
die.
Not on
Yeah.
my
they might have
watch.
been the
Not on
smartest
my
characters
watch.
in the entire
Yeah, no,
Star
I thought-
Wars universe.
I thought in the background.
Protect the whales.
Some like background whales getting
Background whale. That just
Before-
didn't make it.
exploded.
Before we get into bold predictions for a season 2 or the future, let's look at our bold predictions that we came up with from episode 1 and 2 based on limited knowledge of the whole show. We'll start backwards. We'll start with me.
That is
And I
backwards.
said, Thrawn isn't the big bad. The big bad is Ezra. I would like
pretty
to point
close.
I would like to point out that the show's not done yet. And Ezra's story's not done. And also Arjuna
Yes.
whispered and said, the story of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, there is a traitor in it. And I still feel like Ezra could potentially be a traitor of some kind.
How did he survive for so long?
You know who the traitor in that is?
In the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Yeah.
The
It's
Lion?
Edmund.
It's the little brother.
Yeah.
The
Right,
brother.
which exactly, which Ezra could be considered like the little brother.
Oh, I was thinking of the father,
Mortis.
son, and daughter. Father, son, and
the
daughter.
Mortis?
Yeah.
No, I was thinking more literal with Ezra.
Who? Yeah. Maybe.
There's also
because they were a family, like Sabine, Hera.
Yeah, the
Oh,
ghost.
were
The
they?
ghost.
Yeah, they were considered like a family, like living.
They were.
on the
Yeah,
ship.
I mean, they. Yeah, I think you're supposed to get that a little bit when Ezra gets off the ship, removes the helmet, and him and Hera have that moment.
Yeah, like they were in love.
no.
No.
Yeah, no, that was definitely sexual.
No.
No?
No.
They look like
his master.
They're not.
His master was her thing.
Her bang
lover.
toy.
You guys have never banged
the father
mom
of
of,
her.
one of your
No.
friends?
No.
I
Doesn't seem very
to
Star
Lerman-
Wars.
to Lerman's point, though, I will say this: like that's because of the casting choices and the makeup. Like I don't think they did the best job. Like yes, if you put the like how Ezra looks and Hera looks, yeah, I could see why you'd think they were the same age.
Yeah.
There is
Well,
no
they're
age
not the
difference.
same age?
No, Hera's supposed to be like significanther older than Ezra.
She's like 30.
There you
No.
go, and that's
Yeah,
the
she's
casting
not supposed to
problems
be.
that occurred with their choices in casting. So
She's not that much older than Ezra because if you remember, like she's in Bad Batch,
and she's a
chronologically.
teen,
She's like a early teen. She's like not
okay. So then
super
maybe
old.
15, 16 years between.
Yeah, but it's like she's more of a motherly in Rebels. She's more of a motherly figure to Ezra. She's not like a hey.
But she's a Twi'lek as well, so who knows how they age?
right.
Oh.
She's not human.
Sense
Well-
of disbelief.
Oh.
No, I interpreted that
Sense of
scene as a
disbelief
bit
of what I'm saying.
No. I'm just saying, like, this is the first time
Sure.
that, like, it came across as, I was like, oh, yeah, a little hunk.
Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
No. If there's going to be any, the romantic subplot with Ezra would start and end with Sabine. Like that, there is no one else. If that is a thing that they're
And
trying to do.
it doesn't seem like that.
They seemed
the
very
direction.
brother and sister.
Yeah,
Exactly.
especially like Sabine talks about him as a
Family.
It's
brother.
not,
and
it's
the
like
family
it's not going to
stuff.
happen.
Yeah, and they put no at least from my viewing no hint of any like
Right.
let's kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's the only one that would happen, and it's not. It's just not going.
Honestly, the
I
most
don't-
sexual tension that Ezra has with the character in Ahsoka
Hera.
is very clearly Chopper.
Yeah.
When he touches him and Chopper,
he it's like
says-
Chopper comes up and he's like this.
Yeah, he kind of like shakes a little, you know. he's excited.
I think he says you smell like shit.
Yeah. He's
Wait,
like,
is
"Now
that
get
what
over
Chopper
here and give
says?
me a big kiss. And then he
Oh
goes,
man.
beep, boop, bop,
You know, it's
boop.
Dave Filoni
Yeah.
going fuck.
I mean,
fuck you.
that scene really does epitomize this episode, though. Like, why in the fuck did you walk out with your helmet on? You flew so far. You could have taken. You did not need to continue to disguise yourself at that point.
It was for the audience.
That's dramatic.
Yeah.
we
that's
all
for
knew
the
who
drama.
it was.
Drama.
I had
they
no
did.
idea.
There was no drama.
All right, speaking of Ezra, though, Arjuna has said Ezra's already dead. Thrawn killed him a long time ago, and Ahsoka and Sabine will have to decide if they will kill Thrawn. I'm revenge.
I think I meant to say in revenge.
No, I like I'm revenge.
I am revenge.
I'm vengeance.
I think I was pretty close.
I'm bad.
Not even a little bit.
You know, maybe Ezra will die.
I mean, the story's not finished.
Or maybe he is dead already, and that was.
Walking Dead.
Maybe he was resurrected by the Night Sisters.
Yeah, he did seem kind of cagey when Ahsoka was like, "Have you ever been here before?" He's like, "Shut up."
Thrawn is an imperial amazing person as a tactician or whatever. He just wants to fuck with him, so he's wearing Ezra's skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god!
And that was a fake Thrawn.
What? Yeah. We've never seen a droid try and disguise himself as an organic. So
shit,
maybe
that's dark.
This is the first time for everything.
Were you guys surprised at all? And this is more for the Rebels fans, with Thrawn's lack of interest in Ezra, pretty much on the whole.
Again, this goes back to my theory that Ezra's a bad.
Well, and I would say there was no lack of interest in Ezra. He sent 2 powerful Jedi after him in the hopes to get him.
Also,
he was like, I need to get the fuck home because this place sucks.
Yeah. It was also just interesting because, obviously in Rebels, the Ezra Thrawn dynamic is very strong, and then Ezra defeats Thrawn at the end of Rebels. That's why they both end up stranded, in that universe or in that galaxy. So to me, it was just interesting. The reason I had the bold prediction was because I'm okay, these guys are stranded together. They have to come together some way, right? They're going to either kill each other, they're going to work together.
Well,
I was surprised that they're just.
But didn't you get the impression though Ezra has been not engaging with Thrawn? He's kind of been hiding. So he's been hiding for 10 years, Thrawn, being supposedly the tactical genius he isn't going to waste resources for someone who isn't threatening him, right?
Right.
So you get the impression that Thrawn is he's staying over there and that's fine. I don't have to waste resources. He stays there. He doesn't come closer. We leave each other alone.
Right.
So
it did sound like he'd looked for him and couldn't find him too.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's true.
Or maybe they had a bunch of fights and neither of them felt like discussing it.
Also, Arjuna, and also the ending sets up the Thrawn Ezra conflict.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfectly for the future.
That's his main adversary now.
Yeah.
I think a huge clue is the fact that Ezra gets on the big Thrawn ship full of Thrawn people and just somehow gets out on a ship of his own without any
confused by that.
Or anything.
How did he get out?
He wore the armor. Oh my god! Have you never seen a Star Wars?
He also pulled the Han Solo, but unlike Han Solo, was convincing.
Yeah,
very Ezra-like.
There you go. So look at that.
Yeah, that was probably the most Ezra moment, based on what we got in Rebels. Mm-hmm. Him pulling the,
Well, also when they're surrounded in Episode 7, he's like, "Wait, can we just talk?"
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty good Ezra moment.
That's a good Ezra moment. Yeah.
Christian said, "Ahsoka is going to get help from a Force ghost, but it will be Kanan, played by Freddie Prinze Jr."
You had half of it.
Nailed it.
You got a Force ghost, or Force.
So why not? We're talking about wearing skins and disguises. Why can't Force Ghost disguise himself as other? I still think
it's really fucked up.
I don't know if you guys realize this. Freddie Prinze Jr. did cameo in Ahsoka.
How?
Excuse me?
If you pay attention to the Ghost, when we're in the Ghost, when we're with Hera, there is a photo of Kanan.
Digital.
There is?
There is a photo of Kanan, and it does appear when you zoom in, it is Freddie Prinze Jr. dressed up as Kanan.
Oh, they should have kept the animated one.
Wait, no, I've seen it. It looks like Kanan from the animated. Doesn't look like Freddie Prinze Jr.
Well, it kind of looks like Freddie Prinze Jr.
When you say people, do you mean you?
Arjuna's like, I am a people.
Hey,
Arjuna. You are a people.
I have multiple personalities.
Hey.
Don't touch me, Michael.
Hey. If you can hear that, good for you.
What did you say? You can't. We're on an audio podcast. You can't whisper stuff.
I'm not saying it loud. I don't want to get in trouble.
Tune into YouTube to see if you can read his lips, because the shot was on him.
Or Spotify.
Let's get into bold predictions for the future here. I'm going to keep mine simple. I still believe Ezra is a bad of some kind.
Not a bad guy, just a bad.
A bad.
Ezra is a bad
Jedi.
I just don't feel like he's all there for the goodness of the good.
The goodness of the good.
Yeah.
Do you really believe that?
I truly believe he is bad. It feels like he got there too easily. He got off the ship too easily. You know, Thrawn going back to this galaxy knows that the Empire lost, right? Partially because his ego is so Thrawn's ego is probably like so big. He would imagine like, if I'm not here, then there's no fucking way the Empire's like surviving and winning. So he needs to get a mole in there, like quick and quick, as quick as humanly possible. And then Ezra would like play a really good, easy mole for him. So I think that's what's happened here. That's what my bold prediction is.
Your bold prediction.
Yeah, for the future.
Ezra is a bad.
Thrawn's bad.
Thrawn is a good.
Thrawn is a good.
Whoa. Is Thrawn bad? He just seems like Thrawn.
Christian, your bold prediction?
I just had it and it's gone.
Damn.
That's embarrassing.
Do you know, if you've got yours, go. I
do
gotta
have
remember
mine.
what mine is.
I do have mine. So I'm going to go a little bit off internet speculation and rumors
It's never
to
things.
inform my bold prediction. Skeleton Crew
Oh, I forgot about that
is a Star Wars live action show.
Right.
When Skeleton Crew was first announced, there was a big casting in it. Jude Law.
He's a pretty big guy.
Which, when it was cast, many people speculated he would be playing Grand Admiral Thrawn because there was a big
He looks the same.
rumor around the show that Grand Admiral Thrawn was the big antagonist within the show. Now, obviously, Jude Law is not playing Grand Admiral Thrawn.
You sure?
Unless we are doing Star Wars multiverse or recasting for some reason.
Younger Thrawn.
Younger Thrawn, maybe. But if that is the case, right, and if Skeleton Crew is centered around Grand Admiral Thrawn, my bold prediction is that the Skeleton Crew will be led by Ezra Bridger.
Played by Jude Law.
I'm trying to say, where's Jude Law plug into?
I was just utilizing Jude Law because
Sure.
that was the big.
Well, so Jude Law is supposed to be like some Jedi.
Yes.
I was lucky enough to see the initial
Yes.
trailer, and
Yeah.
it looks like he is some kind of Jedi thing.
Jude Skywalker. Actually, he's probably playing Ewan McGregor's brother.
So
I'd hate that so much.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, remember Obi-Wan when he mentioned he had a brother he can't remember?
Yep.
That's
Jude
the
Law.
guy.
Wait, he said I have a brother. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
in the Obi-Wan show.
because he
Yeah,
got
yeah.
kidnapped
Oh yeah,
as a child.
I'm just not making that up. That's
That
from
is true.
Obi-Wan the
Yeah,
show.
no,
That
it's
is
true.
canon now.
It's true.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I mean, so what your bold prediction is that Thrawn is the big bad for Skeleton Crew?
It's the big bad for Skeleton Crew, and
And
then Ezra
every
will
Filoni.
appear, and Skeleton Crew will focus more on the Thrawn now in our main universe, what's going on there, and Ezra and Hera and all of these characters will also be involved.
Isn't Skeleton Crew though? It's a live action, but isn't it being like targeted towards like?
They kind of
Kids?
call it like
Like
Goonies
the
in
Clone
space.
Wars was?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think there's going to be like I think they're going to be the end point in this story, right? You're going to follow this kind of like kid crew as this kind of big threat is emerging with these other players.
So we've had Mandalorian, Boba Fett, both end at the same point in time, which is right before Thrawn returns.
Yes.
So I assume all the returning shows will be about Thrawn and how Mando, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Hera, Ezra defeat Thrawn before the sequels.
I don't know if Ahsoka's like coming back anytime soon.
No, I think they all go back out there.
Wait,
Maybe?
what? Back out to
the galaxy far, far away.
Galaxy
The
B.
planet galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the single
We're in a
planet
new
that is the
galaxy.
entire galaxy.
One planet.
Space Whale Cemetery.
Singular.
We're
One
in,
whale cemetery is all you get.
we're in a no man's sky galaxy.
There you go.
Yeah, you got to generate. You got to move from planet to planet to generate
Right.
the stuff.
Trisha, did you come back up with your?
No, I can't remember what it is, but I've got a poor excuse for a backup. So now that Ezra's been reunited with Hera, so we're going to have a lot of good Rebels on Thrawn action.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I think my Kanan prediction is a season early. So I think in the second season of Ahsoka that comes out in 5 years, Freddie Prinze Jr. will be coming as Kanan, as a Force ghost, to Ezra at a time of his need in his fight against Thrawn. The end.
Do you think Ezra will now meet Luke Skywalker? Because remember, at this time, Luke is now assembling his little
Avengers,
his school, right? Obviously, we saw Ahsoka before this show. You know, she took Grogu to the planet. He was like one of the students.
I'm going to say no, because the thing I got from Luke in Mandalorian season 2 and then season 3, or season 2 and then season 2.5, Boba Fett, is that Luke doesn't really have a lot of interest in the whole New Republic shit that's happening.
But he is building, like, he does. We do know, obviously, he gets students.
Sure, but he's building a school. Ezra, though, is back in this galaxy and is very much aware that Thrawn's there. And Ezra's always been kind of this character he's a rebel,
right?
First and foremost. He's utilizing his skills as a Jedi to help the rebellion, to help those that can't be helped. Luke
is a Jedi.
Wants to build a school. So I don't know. I
like that.
I don't think Luke is gonna give like too many fucks, I guess.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're gonna do like a scene in one of these shows or somewhere where
Ezra
definitely, and Luke come across each other, and maybe Ezra's like, "Come help us fight," and then Luke's like, "No, I'm a little bitch. I gotta go kill my nephew."
I mean, you could argue that the two worst characters in all of Star Wars history is Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker.
No.
You gotta throw Yoda in there.
Yeah, no. Yoda's number 1. And Qui-Gon Jinn might be number 2. And I love Qui-Gon.
Mace Windu.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
all these supposedly powerful
a lot of people
Jedi,
will say Jar Jar
all
Binks.
this shit happened.
Oh, yeah, Jar Jar. I wiped that from my brain.
I mean, you could also say like the two, was it radio techs or whatever on the Death Star in Episode 4 that decide not to shoot out C-3PO and R2-D2 in their little pod. Like if they'd blown that up, cool.
That's true.
Empire would have been great. Would have been like kicking it.
What if? Yeah. Should they do a What If Star Wars edition?
That would be fun. That should be like a fan thing though. Don't let the studios take
What
it.
if Duel of the Fates? What if Duel of the Fates was Obi-Wan died instead of Qui-Gon?
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say like, what if Duel of the Fates wasn't like an orchestral piece but EDM music? Would it still hit the same?
Actually, they've I think Dave Filoni or George Lucas had an interview saying that the Duel of the Fates decides the whole fate of the galaxy, because if Obi-Wan dies and Qui-Gon lives, Qui-Gon trains Anakin the correct way.
Right.
He's older. He's got more experience. He prevents Anakin from straying down the dark side, and Anakin does become the actual chosen one. But because Qui-Gon died and Obi-Wan lives, Obi-Wan more inexperienced, more brash. Not as that does lead to
Lucas said another key line too is in Episode 3 when Obi-Wan screams to Anakin, "You were like a brother," and says that's actually the inherent flaw within their relationship. Anakin didn't need a brother; he needed a father. Qui-Gon would have been the father figure that he needed,
not a brother,
which Obi-Wan could not provide.
And that's why Anakin became That's why Anakin became the father, the Vader.
The Vader.
Because he didn't have one.
That's why he
become what you don't have. I'm gonna be a father.
That's why he was a shit dad. He wasn't there for his kids.
But it's interesting.
Wow.
It's interesting what you say, Christian, because I feel like almost Ahsoka went to the length to disregard that. In that Anakin says, "You are every Jedi that came before. You are all of me." So in that sense, Obi-Wan is everything that Qui-Gon is, and therefore Anakin is trained however he would have been trained by either one, because they are same.
The whole George Lucas is giving his perspective as the creator of the show, as the god of this show. None of these characters in the show are probably aware of that, right?
God.
Like, oh, if Qui-Gon lives, this whole that Yeah.
Right. No,
So-
but what I'm saying is that this show put forth the idea that Obi-Wan would have been everything that Qui-Gon was, because that's what Anakin was saying, that the Jedi are, that the Padawan system is, you are who you are trained by.
Right.
Yeah, I took that part more as you're part of a great lineage and you're continuing. You've got training for, you've got like a great tradition of these great Jedi masters. That doesn't. I didn't quite get the idea
the other
that
way, because I took that
you-
whole thing
you
of
are.
her being afraid of becoming the other parts of Anakin. So when he says you're everything that I am, immediately it's like, oh, she's Darth Vader too. And that is what that whole episode was about for me, was her understanding and coming to terms with the fact that she's not Darth Vader, that she won't become what she fears she will become.
I do think the interesting thing, it is always interesting to think, like, what if Anakin had been betrayed by Qui-Gon? I think the biggest difference between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is what you see with the actual Clone Wars itself, right? Like, Kenobi becomes a general and he has the famous, like, I fight for the Republic, or I fight for democracy, or whatever, right? Which is like a complete bastardization of what the Jedi are supposedly stand for, right?
Right.
As these they become generals, right? Which is not in their code at all. And Qui-Gon kind of foresaw some of that in Episode 1. Is like, this is not what we stand for, and you think would have steered Anakin clear of, like, let's go fight in this war, let's become generals, while Obi-Wan was like,
Well, no,
I'm going to put on the armor.
Qui-Gon would have 1,000% would not have participated in the war. Remember,
Exactly.
his master, Count Dooku, was against it.
Yeah.
And also he said to the Jedi Council, you don't give me permission, I'll go fuck off, I'll go do it myself.
Yeah,
So he
exactly.
would not have been around during the Clone
Wait,
Wars.
they got a choice?
Well, you can just like peace out.
He
from the
would
order.
have left the Jedi.
you could leave the order.
Qui-Gon, if Qui-Gon lives, Qui-Gon would have taken Anakin and left the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
If everything
More
goes
than
the same
likely,
way,
yeah.
right?
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based off what we know of the character, yeah.
What
absolutely.
do we only know Phantom Menace?
There's some extra stuff too that really talks about Qui-Gon and, like, how the reason he's not a Jedi Master is because he disagrees with the way the Jedi Council is going so much.
He butts heads with them all the
he-
time.
he-
He was a rebel.
He's essentially at the point of, like, I'm ready to leave the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
At the begin, like, before Episode 1 even really happens, he's like, he's like, this is not what I understand of the Jedi Order. I do not agree with this, et cetera, et cetera.
You should watch
So-
the animated show Tales of the Jedi. It's the miniseries that's on Disney Plus. It's basically split in, I think it's 6 episodes. It's 3 episodes on Count Dooku before he becomes Count Dooku, and then 3 episodes on Ahsoka up until, like, the Clone Wars peak or whatever.
I mean, it seems like you're almost making an argument for Qui-Gon quickening the dark side coming to Anakin, in that, like, his master was Dooku, who went to the dark side, who probably would have drawn Qui-Gon to the dark side, and therefore drawn Anakin even further to the dark side.
Well, he didn't draw Qui-Gon to the dark side.
Because
Qui-Gon's-
Qui-Gon died.
Well, actually, if you
Yeah,
watch Tales
but-
of the Jedi, Qui-Gon's death is actually potentially the tipping point to what drew Count Dooku to the dark
Right.
side.
Oh, so Dooku's not dark at that point?
No, in
No.
fact,
Oh, cool.
So Dooku,
I have a-
sorry, Christian, go ahead.
No, yeah, sorry. The Dooku thing has reminded me partly of my bold prediction. I have a question. Was Dooku not responsible for the deaths of the witches on Dathomir?
Yes, 1,000%. Along with General Grievous.
Morgan has a very interesting line. After Thrawn says, "Long live the Empire," Morgan says, "Long live Dathomir." I think the witches will betray Thrawn. They have a look when he says, "Bomb the fortress."
Yep.
They have a look. Count Dooku. Anyway, so yeah, So if Count Dooku is the one who killed all the witches,
Sure.
the witches have long memories. They believe in revenge. Someone's got to pay for it. So I wonder who it is.
I would not be surprised if the witches are aware of Palpatine.
Yes.
And I would imagine the witches in this other galaxy are also aware of what happened, because Dooku, Grievous being puppets of Palpatine. Yes, I think that's where the revenge piece comes into play, because, perhaps Thrawn is aware of the Grand Master Plan and is aware that, Palpatine is out on Exodus.
Exegol?
Exegol. Thank you. On Exegol, cloning himself like a psycho.
Why do I remember that?
Because it's posters.
It's a cool planet name.
It's
as stupid as the situation was. Exegol. What sounds fucking cool.
I guess
my
JJ was
last
good at one
question
thing.
do you think Anakin would have gone with Qui-Gon
Yes.
if he left the Jedi Order?
Yes.
Or do you think he would have demanded to fight in that cause
I think he would
to
have
save people
Well,
like he wanted to save his mom?
I think...
But you remember, you're forgetting, beyond when Qui-Gon would have taken Anakin to when the Clone Wars started is roughly 12 to 15 years. So 12 to 15 years being influenced by like an actual father figure mentor will radically kind of change who you are and how you view saving people.
I
Maybe,
do.
yeah.
I do. I think if you look at episode 1 and you look at the relationship between Anakin and Qui-Gon is very clearly like the person Anakin looks up to the most, right? And treats with a lot of like respect and revere, and it's like this is the father figure I never had. This is the person who I trust the most, and that I want to. I'm willing to leave my mom for, right? As tough as it is, and he wants the mom to come with him. Qui-Gon even tries, isn't able to persuade what's his name, the stupid little fly alien man.
It doesn't matter.
With the pot belly.
Grebos.
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 What is that thing's name?
Something
Wow,
like that.
completely
It
forgetting.
is something like that. Like Grebos or...
Well, we're thinking Greedo, I think.
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
not.
he's
That's
not
not
That's the
Greedo.
Rhodian
the
bounty
Bose
hunter.
or something. At the
Yeah,
end
but
sounds
you
like-
know, but I do think because of that, like,
Wagyu? That's the type
but
of
because
meat.
like he does not have that
crab
relationship
rangoon.
with Obi-Wan, right? Obi-Wan's like, ew, who's this dumb little annoying kid?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Obi-Wan is the audience at that point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read the Phantom Menace novel, the novelization. I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan thinks this kid is the most annoying, like, thing. Like, you get inside of Obi-Wan, he's like, "What the fuck?" He doesn't say those words, obviously, but he's like, "This is horse shit."
It's horrendous.
Yeah.
You guys remember when Force Ghost Qui-Gon showed up at the end of Obi-Wan? It was like very clear Liam Neeson was just like under his cloak. He had like a Hawaiian shirt and maybe like a Mai Tai. in his
Dude,
hand.
they shot that with him on a Zoom call.
That's 100%.
Oh, I
And-
hope so.
And he's wearing like his wife's like throw blanket.
Oh my god, that would be incredible.
That's 1,000% what happened.
Yeah.
All right, it's that time. We have to answer the big question here. If some strange man came to your house when you were a child and you had to abandon your parents and your family to go work with a cult because you were told you were the chosen one, would you do it?
If I was a slave, 100%.
I meant
guess
you
you
guys
guess you out of
now,
slavery?
like,
Yeah.
in your history.
Also, you're promised super ultimate power.
Yeah. So someone like rando fuck comes to our door in New Hampshire.
I would have 3 questions. Do I still have homework?
Yes.
Do I get to watch my Saturday morning cartoons?
Nope, that's attachment.
Then I'm out.
Okay, well there you
I'm out.
go. No, the real question though, Krishna, was Ahsoka the season 1, the thing that is out, the 8
We
episodes?
could just call it season 1.
I don't want to be wrong.
We could be. I mean,
Just
Could be
say
super
Ahsoka.
wrong.
I mean,
Just
it's
say Ahsoka.
season 1, maybe season only. Right? Like
Christian-
season 1 doesn't mean there is a season 2.
Krishna, was Ahsoka season 1, maybe season good?
Yes, it was good.
shocked.
I was not sure after the first 2 episodes, but it was just episode 3 onward. I thought was fantastic. Some of the best Star Wars, in my opinion. I thought it was beautifully shot. I thought Ahsoka, the character, like really found herself as the show went on. And I thought all the characters did. I was not a huge fan of Sabine in the first 2 episodes, but she got better. Kind of sad we didn't get a whole lot of time with Ezra, but I thought they really nailed the casting. Like he had a lot of the Ezra mannerisms. So I thought it was really good, and I really hope there is a second season or a movie or something that continues what we've been given, because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. A lot of really cool Force stuff, which we've all criticized Star Wars for getting away from since Disney sort of took over. So I'm glad that there's potential to really explore that part of Star Wars. Arjuna, was Ahsoka good?
Yes, it was. I enjoyed the season. Like I said earlier, I don't think the ending was the best. I do think there were some flaws there. I think it did what it had to by moving the pieces into certain areas for where the larger story wants to go. I think with Ahsoka, I think with future shows, future movies and stuff, and I think that made it a little bit clunky. I think we didn't get necessarily the time we wanted to with all of our characters or a satisfying necessarily conclusion to a full season. There are a lot of dangling threads there, but I'm excited for this latest chapter in the entirety of the Star Wars saga, and I'm excited to see what happens next with the characters and with the plotting, whether that be Ahsoka Season 2, in future shows, in future movies, in future graphic novels or video games or tabletop games or fan fiction or podcasts.
You don't have to list everything.
Or holographic
Lunchboxes,
holographic cards,
mugs, thermoses,
coins,
yeah, bills,
Disney hotel
glasses,
experiences. Oh, wait,
Sex toys.
Damn.
Ooh, yeah.
NFL augmented reality games.
Sure.
I did the Toy Story one recently.
Yeah.
Give me an Ahsoka one.
Give you a whole story.
That will be Ahsoka Season 2. Tune in to the next London game. You will see Ahsoka Season 2 played out in real time.
Ooh, like
football
Ice-Capades.
field.
Is that when you'll finally admit that the NFL is scripted?
Yes, I will.
All right, good.
Oh my God, Ezra, he changed teams. Ravi,
He's on Team Thrawn.
Was Ahsoka Season 1 good?
When the final episode ended, I stood up and I felt in my soul that I had just... I remembered when I watched Rogue One that first time and how sad I was.
It rained.
And it rained. And I stood up and I felt to myself, I feel this sad. And based on that and how my enjoyment of Rogue One has increased over the years, I'm going to say yes, it was good, because I know deep down that if I say no, I'm lying and I'm wrong.
Wow.
But here's my because sometimes we do this, right? When we do finale, we do the finale and the season.
Sure.
Would you have said no?
Oh, finale's horseshit.
Okay.
The finale's horseshit. Literal turd that I need to go take right now.
A poopy.
Yep.
Wait,
you also as well?
No,
You
wait,
both.
all of that.
You both must take a dump. You are synchronized.
I have to take a
And
dump too.
that's going to do it for us here. That's going to do it for us here on the Was It Good podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in and joining us. This was a very long podcast, longer than most actually. But if you want to check out some of our other podcasts, check us out on wasitgood.info. Check us out on youtube.com/wasitgood for full episodes. Follow us on Twitter at wasitgood, on TikTok and Instagram at wasitgoodpod. Next pod will be out sometime next week, most likely on a Saturday. So follow along to see what we're chit-chatting about. Till then,
Watto was his name.
Oh, Watto.
Watto. What a fucking asshole.
Hey, honey.
And cut.